Middle schoolers, Miss Carlin here, ready to help you figure out how to make your first sketch note. So maybe you've decided to take notes this way for the first time or produce a final project with Sketchnotes and you don't know how to get started. So I'm going to help you out with that today. First and foremost, we got to pick our topic. For you, it might be a research question. For us, it's remote learning because that's what we're living in right now. We're going to build a sketch note together so you can see the thought process to use to build your own. First, we have to identify our title or our theme. In this case, on this sketch note, you can see it's the legislative branch. Maybe it's a research question. Maybe it's the topic photosynthesis, but you have to start with identifying your title, your question, or your theme and getting it on there. Okay? Easy peasy. Next, we have to identify the big ideas. So whether you're watching a video, reading an article, or taking all of your research, you need to pull out those key ideas that you would focus on. Think of it like what would be like your main topic paragraphs. You add those to your sketch note. You may do that in a brainstorm format in a list, or maybe you just start like doing a rough draft on paper. Here were the key ideas that my students shared about remote learning in our class discussion. Next, we want to find the important key details that go with those main ideas. They might be supporting evidence, they may be examples, they may be subtopics or facts, but they connect to the main idea and they add richness or detail or interest to our sketch note. So here, I've added 2 details to go with each of my main ideas. Now, there's probably more than 2, and as you work on your sketch note, you may have more and more ideas that you choose to add to increase the detail and the amount of sharing you do in your sketch note. Step 4, we need to decide on a layout. There is no wrong way to do a sketch note. And really, the layout is determined a lot by your topic. If you're comparing 2 ideas, maybe you have them side by side. If it's sequential order, you put it that way. But there's lots of different things to play with and try. These are just some examples that you could use. For my topic, I chose a central that would branch out. I could do little bubbles if I wanted to, or arrows, but I want to show you that there's more than one way to lay out this sketch note. This shows it kind of sequential, like this, causes that, causes this. So there's not one necessarily way to do layouts. Just play with it and see what works. The key is you want to make sure your sketch note feels organized and easy for the reader to follow. Now the fun part, we get to add the visuals, the icons, the imagery, the color, where we are going to show rather than tell our story. And this sketch note here is a great example of it. How can we add imagery or icons to really tell our reader a story or show our reader a story? So for here, I took out the zoom and I added that icon. I don't need to have the word there. You can glance and see that that's what that means. The viewer can very easily, so you can easily see how I've added imagery to improve how my viewer can understand what I'm trying to say, okay? And that's all you're doing is what can I draw instead of write? Next, we want to take all these main ideas and details and connect them. In science and social studies, there's a lot of big ideas and big systems out there, and we want to show how things happen or how they're related. We can use a variety of connectors. We can use arrows, we can use dots, lines, roads, waves, who knows? But just show how things connect to each other. And there's lots of different ways to do it, okay? Remember that one kid's sketch or another kid's sketch note about the same big ideas may connect a little differently or look a little different. It doesn't necessarily mean they're wrong. It's how it works in your brain. And you're trying to show what you've learned or what you understand. Finally, we're going to add the flair, the fun. You may have time for this, you may not. Some of them are simpler, some of them are fancy. This is when we're adding extra color, frames, icons, fonts to improve the visual impact of our sketch notes. And it's going to be different from everyone about what they can do during this stage. Finally, you want to get feedback. Share this with a classmate, share this with a friend, a family member. Ask them, what could I do better? Is anything confusing? What did I do well? Check my spelling, okay? Next, you want to take those great ideas and make improvements where you can. All of our work is just in a constant state of making it better, revising it, listening to feedback. Finally, turn it in and feel good about trying this new exciting skill with me. Don't be scared. It's not about the art. It's about the ideas.